This is going to be the segment about the ammonia nitrate test, and the equipment here is going to be 3 green cubes with black lids. Your reagents are going to be the ammonia cyanurate powder packets and the ammonia salicylate powder packets. And this test requires a blank, so that's why we have 3 cubes. So we will start with the blank as far as rinsing it anyways. So we'll rinse it 3 times with deionized water. And your fill line on the cube is going to be on the left-hand side, the clear side, where it has some numbers on there, and then it says milligrams per liter, and then there's a small dashed line. That's going to be your fill line. So the blank gets filled with deionized water up to that dashed line on the left. You want the very bottom of the water curve to be at the top of that line. Fill it eye level. So that's our blank. So I usually set mine on one side, and the 2 are going to be creek waters. Or you can number your test cubes, number them on the side or something like that, a blank and 1 and 2, just to help you with any sort of confusion that might happen. So 2 test cubes are going to be rinsed with deionized water. Three times rinsing, and then also rinsed with creek water 3 times. Just shake off the extra, and we also need to rinse off the caps as well. Rinse these separately. You don't ever want to drop your cap in the liquid waste. It's pretty nasty when you got to go fishing for it, but it happens, and we do want you to keep all of your equipment, so don't flush it down the toilet. Okay, so these 2 need to be filled with creek water up to that dashed line as well. And 1 more drop in this one. There we go. Okay. Then we're going to start with the ammonia salicylate, the AS. We're going to start with that packet first. Each cube gets 1 ammonia salicylate AS packet. And as we've said in some of the other episodes of these videos, the blank is going to be testing the deionized water, making certain we're not getting any sort of false positive readings. It's testing the equipment, it's testing the reagents, it's testing you as the scientist. So we'll go ahead and put in, you can put in 1 packet and shake it up and agitate till it's dissolved. I usually just get them all 3 poured in and then shake them at once. But I'll get it going. So my ammonia salicylates are all in. Make certain and get the lids on nice and snug. And we're going to agitate the cubes back and forth until they are dissolved. This one will take a little bit. The reagents have quite a bit in the packets. There's not much liquid in these cubes. So just keep inverting back and forth until they're dissolved. Okay, those are dissolved. Next comes the ammonia cyanurate, the AC powder packet. Each cube gets 1 AC packet. Just remove the black lids. Add the ammonia cyanurate, 1 packet per cube. That one needs to be cut a little bit more. Put the lids back on, nice and snug. Add the ammonia cyanurate also to the blank. The blank gets the same procedure. It's just filled with deionized water is the only difference. Get the lid on the blank, and again invert back and forth until that ammonia cyanurate is completely dissolved. So you do not want snow globes, no floating reagents in these cubes. They should all dissolve. It will take a little bit. Okay, when they're all dissolved, they should always start out as yellow. The blank should start out as yellow, and the 2 creek waters should also start out as yellow. If they don't start out as yellow, figure out what happened. Sometimes people have added 2 of the same reagents before. If you add them in the wrong order, if the reagents are not working properly, something's not working. They should always start out as yellow. Both the creek waters and the blank deionized water should always start out as yellow. Now we're going to time this for 15 minutes, 1-5. And I usually, whenever I'm doing my creek water tests, I have the 2 creek waters on one side, the blank on another, just so I know which one is which. Some people write down, you know, blank and 1 and 2 and set them up there on their data sheet or on their paper towel here, something like that. So whatever works for you, and we'll wait 15 minutes and see what happens. Okay, after 15 minutes, we need to come back and look at our test cubes. You can definitely tell that one of them, the blank, is still yellow. And we have 2 creek waters, and they have a tinge of green to them. So now we need to take our readings. So I usually kind of compare the creek water to the blank, so I have a comparison. I'm going to use my white paper towel as a white backdrop. And so our blank stayed at the very yellow bottom color, so that's 0.0. The next green color is 0.2, and so on and so forth. They increment at 0.2s. So our creek water is looking at somewhere between a 0.2 and a 0.4. So I'd actually call it a 0.3. And I'm going to look at our second creek waters just to make certain that that one's looking the same way. And that it is between 0.2 and 0.4, so 0.3 on both ammonia cubes for the creek water tests. So again, as far as repeatability, you want them to be about 0.1 difference at most, but really they should come up to be about the same. If not, do a third test and see how it goes. Hopefully 2 of them should get good repeatability. So pretty much, yeah, as far as what you read on the cube is going to equal the milligrams per liter. That being said, if you need to do a mid or high range, which is written in the instructions, there is going to be some calculations along with that. Usually whenever I'm doing my creek water tests, I usually come in and this ammonia test is the first thing I start with because it takes 15 minutes to develop. So I usually get all 3 of my cubes started and then set them off to the side and write down the time that they're due, and then get started on like the dissolved oxygen test or pH test or something like that as the 15 minutes are developing for the ammonia test.